So I was very privileged to be a runaround assistant to the managing director of a consultancy. And that's where I got my experience and confidence to launch my own business and to do what I wanted to do. And I was in my early 30s. In fact, I think I was 29 at the time I joined this business. And I had the privilege of watching a top level negotiation with Coca-Cola, who were buying these things, tin cans. Now you'll see on this one, there's a Russian print on here, because it was an international purchasing exercise. It was massive. It was millions and millions and millions of cans and millions of pounds. 7 years on the trot, they had failed to get a price increase from their annual negotiation with Coca-Cola on a global basis. 7 years. And the managing director said to the commercial director, who was 1 year away from retirement, if you don't get it this year, I'm going to fire you. And just thought the pressure would work. So he very cleverly had a budget, and he got the budget and he spent it on my boss. And he said to my boss, he said, right, Don, you are the lead negotiator for one reason only. If it fails this year, as I suspect it might, at least I can blame you and I might get another year and then I can retire. So that was the motivation of the buyer. And he did this. He went to a factory and I went with him on this. I was accompanying him. He went to 3 actually, but this was one of the ones in Europe that he took me along for. And he analysed the failure rate on production. And he said to the head of production, he said, what's your failure rate? And I thought, oh, that's odd. He won't admit there's a failure rate. And he said, well, our failure rate is 0.7%. And he built a model of value to Coca-Cola about what good production was worth. So he went to the meeting, and all of us, as typical salespeople, would have been selling the cans are great value, the cans, we control production, we've got the best aluminium, we blah, 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 boring. Don did something very different. He went to Coca-Cola head buyer and he said this. He said, I'm going to put your price up by 30%. And the guy fell off his chair and went, don't be so stupid, you're an idiot, go away, I want someone sensible to talk to. And he said, no, hear me out. He said, if you give me a price increase of 30%, I'm going to increase your margin by, I can't remember the exact number, I've written it down somewhere, but he came out with something like 18%. And he said, that's ridiculous. He said, no, it isn't. He said, because you've got a failure rate on every one of the production lines that you subcontract. So my company runs the production lines and I've done the maths. And that failure rate is preventable. And what I'm going to do with your 30% is invest in technology and engineers and every production line just for Coca-Cola so that Coca-Cola production never breaks down. He said, that is worth a margin to you of X, Y, Z. He said, here's the other thing. He said, you can put your price up to cover the cost of my price increase, knowing that the rest of the market will follow. And he had a whole sequence of sums. The guy still said, oh, get out of here. We're not, this is Coca-Cola, don't mess around. We never take a price increase. You should know that. But his boss was in the room and his boss stopped the buyer. There was a senior top guy in the buying chain. And this guy, one of the directors, walked in or took over the meeting and said, let's just hear what this guy's got to say. And the meeting continued. And there were 3 more meetings. In the end, Coca-Cola agreed to a 7% price increase. But what I learned on that was that the only reason he got the price increase was because he was curious enough in what Coca-Cola were really interested in. And what Coca-Cola said they were interested in was price. But what he did was dig into something they weren't even looking at, which was failure rates.